little bonus information, a little bonus episode coming at you right away. We are Haunted Honeymooners. We are hauntedhoneymooners@gmail.com. Facebook, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, all that stuff you already know, all that stuff that you've already been doing. Keep doing it. Keep sharing the haunt. But anyways, it's enough of the announcements. We're not even going to bother with the announcements. That's it. 30-second little tidbit about who we are and what you should be doing. Clicking that like button if you haven't already. But anyways, why are we here? Why are we talking right now? Kings Rivers Psychiatric Center. It's located just a little bit away from Rocky Point, New York, if you're familiar with the New York area at all, which we weren't until this morning. That's actually what happened. Was this morning I was fucking around on my phone and I was like, hey, check this out. And somebody went from basically completely asleep to, okay, I'm getting ready. And we found ourselves at this psychiatric center. Essentially an asylum is I think a better way of kind of describing it when you think about it a little bit. So it was established in 1885, established with the best intentions. From what little research we've done so far, looked like it was just opened up to deal with some overcrowding that was going on at several of the other psychiatric centers around New York at the time. And that was the whole idea. We're going to open up this place. They went with a whole different treatment aspect. They wanted to make it kind of a agricultural community and use agriculture as a way of helping these people come over what they viewed at the time as their ailments, I guess would be a good way of putting it. Huge complex, many buildings on the property. Some of the buildings have been torn down, but the majority of them are still standing. At its peak, it had a little over 9,000 different patients, and that was in 1955, I believe, somewhere around that ballpark. I might be off by a year or two. But anyways, so it was around that time it hit its peak. After that, so they started off with the best intentions. Things did go downhill a little bit. It never got to a Trans-Allegheny lunatic asylum or a Pennhurst level or anything like that. It didn't have a brutal closure or anything like that. But there towards the end, they did start to go with the lobotomies in lieu of the agriculture. The agriculture wasn't working as effectively and as quickly as they would have hoped. And so they just start, doing what everybody else was doing, man. Let's just start fishing around in these people's noodles until they behave the way we want them to behave. Luckily, though, by the time it got to that point, modern medicine was kind of coming around. It was making a comeback. They had just constructed this big 13-story complex that you're going to see in the video. It's the building we primarily focused on.
Building 93.
Yeah, Building 93, which we're going to show you some video of, talk a little bit about what happened there. Anyways, so they built this big 13-story building because they ran out of room to build out. So they build up, and then patients start dwindling. Modern medicine starts to kind of get its kick. They start shutting down floors of the unit because there just wasn't enough people to man it anymore. And that was it. Eventually, they just shut the whole complex down. 1996 was its last functioning. Makes a nice little 111-year run. Doesn't get too crazy. There's not a lot of horror stories out there about it. Honestly, I haven't really found any. Other than, the lobotomies and stuff like that. And I'm sure living conditions weren't the greatest. The beds definitely sucked. You'll see that a little bit. And it was like living in a prison. You'll notice that was one of the biggest things that I took away from the experience we had today was it felt like a prison. Concrete walls, concrete doors, concrete this, concrete that, metal this, metal that. Does not seem like a place for somebody to be able to heal from anything at all, without it just making it worse. But anyways, that's how they did things. And so we wanted to do a little more urban exploring, I guess, and get out there a little bit more. You guys have had an awesome response to anything abandoned, anything haunted like that, and so we wanted to do that. Now, we took some photos. I know we gave a little teaser earlier of some of the stuff that we found there. But we have a barrage of photos. We have a little bit of video playtime, about 10 minutes or so. We had to we couldn't be there forever. Number one, we were planning this spur of the moment, and everything else. We didn't have as much time as we would have liked to genuinely explored. But also had an interesting experience. I'm going to talk about this, and then the video is going to pretty much be the rest of it. But one thing that we wanted to talk about, so after we entered, there is a particular room, the biggest room in there appears to be kind of a laundry facility maybe at some point in time. I don't fucking know. But we go into this room, and I'm not a believer in this stuff. I can logically explain in my head. I can at least come up with what sounds like a logical explanation for every single thing that happened today except for one. And that's me kind of even forcing the logic into certain areas, just trying to prove myself that things aren't what they are. So we go into this room, we're doing some recording, and the presence, or the presence, the feeling, something in this room was way different than anything I've ever experienced before in my entire life.
It was hard to walk through it.
Yeah, my legs felt weak the whole time I was in there. Antsy. I really wanted to be out of the room. And so we leave the room. We do a little more exploring, and it kind of starts to die off a little bit. And you can hear it just a little bit in the tape, but we enter one room, and I'm talking to Trish, and you can hear just clear as day, at least for us. And you can, if you crank it all the way up and you really focus on it, you can hear it very lightly in the background. Without a doubt, music playing. It could have only been a few floors above us. And if it would have been like some heavy rock or rap or country or something, I'd have been like, people are partying up there. And that's kind of what I thought. And that's kind of how you'll see me respond to it in the video a little bit. Is, oh shit, there's people up there. But we got to talking about it, and it sounded like it was coming from an old record player. And it was some old school music. It wasn't anything that anybody from our era or age would be listening to. And the moment that we kind of caught it, no sooner had we heard it, it stopped. And so we walk around a little bit more, and then we decide, because of time constraints, and honestly, we didn't have time to really dive into too much anyways. We didn't have any way of really retracing our steps. We didn't want to get into it too far because it's a massive complex, and the last thing we want to do is get lost in this motherfucker, which is very easy to do. So anyways, we decide it's time to go. And so we leave, and as we're going out the window, everything was kind of cool at first. Like, we didn't really feel like anything bad was happening. But once we got out of the window and stepped away from the complex, this big gust of wind came, and just kept coming. Didn't stop. My knees got weak enough that I almost dropped to my knees. I'm not a believer. I look back and I say, it could have been the wind in your imagination from just coming out of an abandoned place like that with the graffiti everywhere else on top of everything that you kind of do and stuff like that. Your imagination could have easily ran off with you, caused your body to react in that way, and that's what happened. I don't know. It was the weirdest experience of my entire life, and it made me walk backwards all the way out from the complex.
The moment we got out of its shadow, it stopped.
Yeah. And the one thing I said, there was a couple of different quote-unquote paranormal things that kind of went down that could also be explained, the music, the wind, the feeling, even in that room. Again, it could have just been my imagination fucking with me. I want definitive proof before I'm going to come out and say, oh, it was this or oh, it was that, because that's just silly. The one thing that I can't explain, and I'd love to hear somebody's feedback on it, or if they have answers for it or something like that. So we both have Samsung Galaxy S9 phones. They're fairly new phones. They're good phones. Good network, everything like that. I never had any issues out of either one of them. Trisha's phone was at 50% when we recorded the video inside the complex. And when we got out, she went to take a picture of it, and when she did, her phone was dead. So the time that we were standing in front of the building, after the video had already stopped, we had already stopped recording. We weren't recording anything else. her phone dies from the time we're there to the time we get to the edge of the lawn. 2-3 minutes tops.
And my phone will not record or take photos past 15%.
So we, okay, whatever. Maybe her battery just fucked up. That is a phone. And so we switched over to my phone. My phone had 38% on it. We recorded maybe a 2-minute video in front of another building, walked back over there, took 2 pictures, and my phone died. We've charged them back up. They've been running fine all day since.
Building 93.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Trish believes a lot more than I do that there was something paranormal going on there. I'm 50-50 either way, I think. I think a visit in the future is probably going to happen. Probably in the summertime when it's not so cold. Probably when we can plan it out a little bit better. And try and do a little more exploring. Go see if we can maybe get a little more concrete answers as to what it was or what it wasn't. Might even buy a little equipment. I know we said we weren't going to. We're not getting anything done, but we might get one of those electronic reader things.
EMS.
There you go. See, so I told you I wasn't planning on doing any ghost hunting with this thing at all, but here we are, going through abandoned places, looking at stuff, and we have other videos coming in the future that we've already went to a couple places. I don't want to give away anything in the future, but there's going to be videos that we show you in the future that show there's nothing here. Like, there's nothing going on or anything like that. And we've actually got a few coming sooner rather than later. So I don't want you to think that we're trying to build up anything or trying to make it seem like it's something that it's not. Because that isn't. Trish also got her hand scratched. She doesn't remember scratching it. And the way that it's on her hand, it's where she was holding the camera. And it's just kind of interesting. I don't know. We're watching to see if demons start growing out of it or anything like that. So far, nothing crazy's happened with it. But we're watching. We're watching. But we're going to let you get to the actual video part and the pictures and everything like that. Keep staying tuned with us. More episodes of Talking Scared coming. More episodes of An Education in Horror. We got a review on Shock Theater coming in a week or so. We got a big announcement coming soon. Something that we've been talking about for a little while, and something that is starting to come into formation more than what we thought it would be. And that's really all I can say on it right now. You'll find out all about it hopefully here very, very soon in the future when we have a little more concrete stuff to talk about. But it's developing a lot more, and we're very, very excited to possibly bring this to you. But other than that, for now, we're Haunted Honeymooners. This is Trish behind the camera. I'm James, still doing me. Y'all have a good night. Hey guys, we are here at Kings Park Psychiatric Center, close to Rocky Point, New York. The complex you see behind me there is the main building that was built there towards the end. There's complexes all over the place throughout the ground, some of which have already been torn out, some of which have obviously not. Graffiti all over the place. You can see it's been made into a skate park now, but we were just thinking about being one of the patients here and pulling up and seeing just the complexes that are over there. And then that monster behind us that we're hopefully going to get inside of here in a little bit and maybe be able to explore some. We'll see. They got it bolted up pretty tightly. But just the terror that would have overcame one here. And just the feeling of dread. This isn't one of the more notorious asylums, which is what it was, man. They had a fancy name on it, but it was an asylum, the same as any other. There was some fucked up shit that went down here as well. We're going to get into a little bit of it and talk about a few more things. But for now, we're going to head up there and see what we can see up there. We're going to bring you guys with us for the ride, too. We'll see you in there. We're trying to keep our voices down a little bit. Apologize if you can't hear us quite as well as usual. The room that we're in right now, I don't really know what it was. The feeling is very heavy in here, man. And you guys know me, I'm not a believer. But I can tell you what, I don't like being in this fucking room. Just show them the clothes and stuff, and the laundry hampers, beds. So we're assuming those are laundry hampers over there. Pretty sure these are beds. Definitely not a very comfortable bed. You can just like feel it's weird.
It's heavy. It's very heavy in here.
You guys know me. I don't like to speculate on this stuff and everything else. I just know what my body's going through right now. And I am more scared in this room than I was at any point at Shock Theater last night. I can tell you that for sure. We are in on the first floor of that main complex we were showing you just a minute ago. What's interesting about this room as well, so if you'll pan over all of those there, the graffiti and stuff on those walls, at this point here, once she pans over, you can see it's pretty heavy towards the back side there. And then right where we're standing and moving forward, other than one or two spots, there is no graffiti on the walls at all. And the walls are pretty accessible.
It's like nobody else wanted to be in here either.
69 position, right over there. Leaving their mark well in there. They can work on their sixes though. It's pretty bad. We're gonna do a little history on this place and stuff like that a little later on. But we mainly just wanted to bring you guys in here and show you this place. You guys have been asking for some abandoned places and stuff, and here we are. We're doing it right now. What? So, we're going to take you with us for a little while. Come on. Something else, again, leading us to believe that this had to do something with laundry in this area. There is just a barrage of socks everywhere. Maybe I just figured out where all the socks go when you put them in the dryer, and you never can find them again. They're right here. You just need to come up to New York and get your socks. Do you not like this room? It's weird. There is like it's that doorway. The second we walk through, man, the whole atmosphere vibe changed considerably. So we're gonna leave this room, I think. We're trying to keep our bearings as much as we can. This place is massive and very easy to get lost in. Right over here, you'll see the stairs.
Oh, that's creepy. There's just one chair sitting in the hallway.
So over here is the stairs that lead. They do what stairs do. You know, they lead up. Or probably, we might go up the floor, but not too much. Floors are pretty shitty in here. And as much as I love this stuff, I'm not trying to break a leg today. Let's go check out this chair. Somebody's jacket. That's from recent. I don't think they were wearing them jackets back in the day. Just rooms, man. You want to crawl up in there?
Bad chance.
Looks like this is storage space, but one of the things about these places, it's kind of, you know, what they're trying to help or what they're trying to heal by barring up all these windows. I know they have to, but man, this place feels like a prison more than it does a hospital in any way, shape, or form. That floor still got a little bit of tile on it. Tile stood the test of time. It's pretty cool graffiti in here. There's fucking music playing upstairs. Yeah. We're gonna hit a couple more rooms and we're gonna bounce because there's definitely people upstairs.
That's creepy. Give me some light.
So it looks like this would have been a classroom at some point. Tell you what, no presents. Really any other rooms other than that first one there. Kind of chilled out a little bit. More nervous about the music upstairs than anything else. Just being real about it. I hope this was a closet, not a room. Oh. Glad we caught that on tape. So we'll talk about what just happened over in there a little bit here later on. We're trying to regather our composure a little bit, but this asylum experienced the same problems that every other asylum has ever experienced: overcrowding. It was initially built to control overcrowding. We have somebody walking over this way right now. But anyways, this looks like a fresher building that was built probably to help control some of the overcrowding and everything like that. We're going to be wrapping it up here. I think we're kind of pushing our limits a little bit with our stay. We'll go over that some from the physical world, some from the not physical world. But either way, we're going to be wrapping it up here, guys. We wanted to bring you out here, let you see this place, and we're going to get up out of here. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in, subscribing, liking. Sorry if my dialogue's a little thrown off. We just had a little bit of an experience.